Hello. Big news this week in the Portland startup community is 514, bunch of former Nike folks who founded a new startup. I'll tell you more about that in a second. But first, wanted to touch on two real quick news stories. One, the Intel layoffs, which if you're impacted by the Intel layoffs, I'm sorry, hang in there. We have a community here that would love to engage with you and see how we could be helpful. It originally started as like it was going to be 500 folks, and then it was like 1,000, then it was 2,000. 2,300 seems to be about the range they're discussing now. I've seen some higher estimates, but of course we won't really be sure until those layoffs actually occur. So again, unfortunately, Intel, the largest employer in the region in tech, is having massive layoffs. And I remain hopeful that the bright side of this is that we see some more interesting startups. Like Ahead Computing's a bunch of former Intel folks, and they're doing well. Maybe some other former Intel folks will build some really interesting startups as well. And then the other big story, speaking of startups and raising money and those kind of things, is Sparrow Pharmaceuticals. They're biotech, so a little bit outside of my space, but they raised $61.8 million. And let me read what it is they do so I don't screw it up. Sparrow Pharmaceuticals is using that capital to further their development of novel targeted therapies for disorders caused by excess corticosteroids. So that's what Sparrow Pharmaceuticals is working on. $61.8 million they raised. So that's good news for them to keep up their work. Okay, into 514. So this is super interesting to me because it's a bunch of former Nike folks. And I always get questions from folks like, you must get a lot of spinoffs out of Nike and Intel and the larger companies in the region. And the fact of the matter is we don't as often as we used to. So when we do find a bunch of Nike alums who have built a company, it's super interesting to me. Made even more interesting by the fact that they just raised nearly $11 million and have a variety of products and seem to be doing well. The 514 is the name of the company, and I'm going to try and keep an eye on them. Not a lot to report right now, but I did want to share what it is they're doing and what commanded that investment. They build open source frameworks, tooling, and AI to help you get the most out of your analytical infrastructure. So I'll link them up if you're interested in learning more about them. But when I posted the story, one of the folks said, hey, wait, there's more news to come. So I will keep you posted when I hear more from them about what's happening at 514. I'm trying to get into a habit every week of sharing someone from the Oregon startup community who has shared their profile in the Oregon startup community database. I'll link it up if you'd like to share your profile as well. But last week I kind of teased maybe I should do somewhere that's far away from Portland because a lot of the profiles tend to be in Portland. One of the profiles was from Bend, and while it's not ridiculously far away from Portland, it's a ways away. It's a drive to get to Bend. So Bend seemed like a good faraway spot to pick. So the profile for this week is Justin Sue out of Bend, Oregon. Justin is a full-stack software engineer and tech generalist with an NLP and AI background. He's worked on many greenfield projects in companies of various sizes, and most recently, he was a founding engineer at a clinical trial startup and built their platform from the ground up. He's currently looking for a co-founder to work on a startup with, but in the meantime, he's been building an AI LinkedIn social media manager, a lightweight tool that generates LinkedIn posts for users based on their bio and writing style, and it helps them schedule their posts more intuitively. He says, my husband asked me to build something like this for him, and so I think it might be a founder-spouse problem fit. But he's demoed it to a few people, shown people the MVPs, and they've asked to use it, so he may have built something worthwhile there while he's waiting around for you to be his co-founder. So if you're interested in a technical co-founder, if you're one of those folks who's looking for a technical co-founder, maybe hit up Justin and see if there's a potential fit. So like most startup communities, we have the regular kind of pitch events where people show up month to month, share what they're building. And then you have the big kind of marquee pitch events like Bend Venture Conference that's coming up in October. Get your applications in if you want to be on stage there. But in the summer, there's like this rolling big pitch event after big pitch event after big pitch event. So I wanted to tell you about a couple who have announced their finalists. One is not really the pitch event. It's more the reveal event where they've decided the winner and they just hold a party and an event so that you can hang out as they hand out the big check. And then the other one is actually a pitch event that has the potential for the winner to go to the global stage. So first one is OEN, Angel Oregon Tech 2025. They've announced their finalists, and one of these finalists will get a big check at the ceremony. The companies in that competition are Hindsight VIP, Life to Launch, Stira, which won an event, maybe one of the Thai events, maybe West Side Pitch they won a while ago, Top Sale, and Yak. Now the next one that is actual competition among women-founded companies hosted by Thai Oregon is the regional competition for Thai women. We've had people go from this regional competition to the global competition. For the Thai Oregon Women's Regional Pitch Competition, the companies are Effective, Havant, which is basically this, it's a shoe, it's a high heel, but it also has some properties of like a sneaker. So that one was super interesting to me. Howl at the Spoon, who I've had the opportunity to work with in the past, and so wish them luck. Sip Herbals, which is a Shark Tank alum, and I believe won the Thai Oregon Columbia River Pitch Competition maybe last year. I don't think they won it this year, but anyway, they've won that competition. And yet again, Yak, who was a finalist for the OEN Awards too. So Yak could potentially be the winner of two competitions. We'll have to watch and see. And then the final one is Yuzi. So those are the companies. They'll be competing to take the stage at Thai Women Global, which, so I've known some startups that have gone through that before, and they not only enjoyed the opportunity, but really enjoyed the experience to get the chance to meet other women founders from around the world who came together for the global competition. So best of luck to all of those folks, the folks who have to pitch and the folks who are waiting to hear if they won. And if you're interested in watching either of those competitions in person, I of course will link up the RSVP link so you can grab your ticket and be in attendance. Okay, I said there's the regularly happening pitch competitions and these bigger pitch competitions. One of the regularly happening pitch competition, one of the Okay, I said there's these big pitch competitions, but there are also regularly happening pitch competitions that occur month after month after month. Demolicious, of course, is one of them. If you don't know Demolicious, this is one where you get 3 minutes, you get up, give your pitch, somebody else gets up, gives their pitch, crowd votes, whoever the crowd likes wins. Now that winner gets to come back the next month and defend their title against a whole new slate of folks. So that's the vibe for Demolicious. Next one is coming up next Thursday, July 24th. And I don't have who's pitching there yet. I haven't seen who's on the docket for pitching, but that occurs every month. So if you have something you would like to pitch, sign up to take the stage at Demolicious. If you're just interested in seeing what people are building in Portland right now, or sometimes people come from other places to participate in Demolicious. And I think Demolicious is doing a Seattle version as well. So lots of Demolicious activity. But if you're interested in pitching, Josh Carter always shares a form you can fill out so you can get your name on the list and be part of the Demolicious pursuit and see if you can win that title belt. And then, of course, December 11th is the Demolicious Champion of Champions competition, where all the people who've won throughout the year get on stage and compete against one another. And I will be at the December 11th Champion of Champions event for sure. It's at the Mission, the McMenamins Mission, so I'll be there. But go to Demolicious every month if you like. Okay, two startups that came across my desk that I had the opportunity to write up. Just wanted to highlight them for you so you can get more information on them if you want. Again, kind of new to me startups, so I'm still figuring out what they do and starting to pay attention to news stories about them. But the first one is the Human Intelligence Institute. They have developed a mark that people can use to show that their online content was actually generated by a human. So to differentiate from AI generated, copy or video or imagery, this is to designate that it was created by a human. So it kind of reminds me of Creative Commons, like how people will use the Creative Commons mark to say, this is work that I've created that you can use or repurpose so long as you give me credit or don't sell it or those kind of things like that. Creative Commons mark. That's kind of what the Human Intelligence Institute mark reminds me of. I think it's called the Human mark. Can't remember exactly. But anyway, they launched on Independence Day with this manifesto about human independence and human intelligence. And so really interested to see where this goes, especially in a town as creative as Portland. I think this kind of pursuit has a lot of potential. So that's the Human Intelligence Institute. Check them out. And the other one is Livermore. This is one of those ones where I wasn't really sure if it was a Portland company because I tried to do the research and didn't look very Portlandy. But it turns out that the CEO is here in Portland and the company has Portland address, so I figured it out. It's Livermore. They're using AI to help seniors better navigate Medicare, and unfortunately Medicare is getting even messier and messier by the day, so their service is not only much needed but probably much appreciated. Again, don't know a ton about Livermore, but we'll keep an eye on them and help share any news that they have coming out of that startup. And then the final story this week is one of those where I've now covered the entire life of this project, the Portland Digital Core, which you may remember started not too long ago, founded by Ron Bronson, who was the director of digital design at 18F. I always kind of mess up his title, and I apologize, Ron, but he was at 18F. They went through their whole thing, and he wound up starting this project to help nonprofits with project-based work. So not building things that required maintenance or upkeep, but projects they could do quickly and efficiently and bring people together to support nonprofits here in town. They selected a whole bunch of projects. And they did the work and got things done and built some awesome stuff. But now it was always planned to be a very terminal project. They were going to work on things that they could parachute in, get done quickly. But the whole Portland Digital Core itself was meant to be a short-term thing. And so what they're doing is they've created this momentum, and they're just kind of passing that over to Code PDX, which has done very similar work over the years on nonprofits, open source projects, get people together to use their coding talents to help others. That's what Code PDX has done for the longest time. So this kind of effort makes sense to live there. Apparently, I didn't get a chance to go, but apparently the Portland Digital Core did a portfolio review. They showed all the projects they had built over the past few months and the nonprofits they'd had the opportunity to help. And so it was just a really nice storyline there, a really nice story arc where it's, 18F gets shut down. Ron decides to do something very positive for the community with the time he has, but also designs it in a way that it's not something that's just a long-term thing. It's a very quick, it was almost like an accelerator program where it's you're constrained by time. You can sometimes get things done more quickly and efficiently. So really happy to have been along for the entire journey of the Portland Digital Core. And of course, we'll keep an eye on the projects they've built, but also the people who are engaged in Portland Digital Core and let you know what they're up to next as well. Okay, it's just you and me. Everybody else is gone. It's just you and me are the only ones left. We're the only ones who've stayed this long into the video. So this is the place where I kind of like let you know some secrets, some things that I'm working on that aren't really news, but I just want you to know so you can keep them top of mind. Working on some more interviews for the Long Con, which is my longer form podcast where I spend a good deal of time just chatting with somebody. Those are completely unedited, off the cuff kind of conversations. I think that's important that they're conversations. It's not like an interview, it's us chatting. So the Long Con, getting some more of those recorded, and I will get those posted as soon as they're recorded. But just wanted to let you know I haven't forgotten about that. It's just been scheduling and things that have made that more challenging. And then also thinking through some event stuff, that both a series of smaller events, more intimate events that I'm trying to figure out. I kind of want to do an AI event, but just kind of a build stuff with AI event, like a really quick one. And then I've been inspired and started thinking about a larger, like big event, like multi-day big event that I'm just starting to sketch and compare notes with people and kind of draft out. That it really was inspired by Michael Richardson, who was one of the co-founders of Airship. Who reminded me that a lot of the interesting energy in the Portland startup community often came from major national events that occurred in Portland. So like OSCON, the open source convention, would come to Portland, and a bunch of people would descend upon Portland. A bunch of interesting, smart people would descend upon Portland. Some of them would fall in love with Portland and stay. Others would just have an affinity for Portland and say nice things about the community or help people who lived here. XOXO, another great example where Andy Baio and Andy McMillan put together this amazing conference for people who basically did creative things on the internet, would bring them together for not only speakers, but like video games and music and gatherings and all kinds of stuff. And that one was another one where a bunch of really creative, amazing people would descend on Portland for a short time. And inevitably, a chunk of those people would wind up moving to Portland and making Portland a better and more creative place. So that has kind of got my gears turning. I don't know if you know this, but I helped start TechFest Northwest. If you were around long enough for that, that's a whole long story. I could actually give you the history of, probably in another video if that's of interest to you, but kind of give you the story of why TechFest Northwest, why it was started, and the collaboration with Willamette Week to build that thing and make it into a major event before that whole pandemic thing happened. So happy to talk about that as well. But all by way of saying, I do have experience with larger multi-day events and programming and producing those. So I'm not naively thinking about a much larger event, but I'm motivated to think about that larger event. And there's some other people who are doing some interesting things who have really inspired me to think more fervently about that. Fervently, is fervently the right word? I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about a big event. So just wanted to let you know. So stay tuned for that if I figure that out. And then again, sprinkling of little more intimate events happening. Coming up next week, I know there's some big news dropping. I've been behind the scenes helping with it. So I will have a big story next week that's very downtown Portland positive. It's kind of like the opposite of that whole doom loop bullshit. So really excited to be able to share that news with you. And that's really all I got going. It's a warm week. Hope you're staying cool. Hope you're hanging in there. And until we get the chance to chat again, please keep up the good work.